Hey, good evening, everybody. I want to start tonight off by saying you guys should be thankful there is no smell-o-vision on YouTube, at least not yet, because I have just finished a workout. As a matter of fact, I believe today actually marks 2 weeks of progress with fitness stuff. I've been working out every day for the past 2 weeks, and I'm feeling good. Feeling more energetic. I'm feeling like my back doesn't hurt as much anymore. And well, I've been weightlifting too, so I'm feeling a little bit stronger lately. I don't know if that's foolish to say at this point. 2 weeks, how much progress can you really get? But um, I don't know. I've never been one for weightlifting of any kind. Usually in the past, when I've been mindful of my fitness, I've been doing stuff like cardio and um, calisthenics or like body weight, like you know what I'm saying. And this time around, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna start lifting weights. And I gotta tell you, I wish I had started it much sooner. It feels really good. And so far, it's not as complicated as I thought it would be. I've only been doing stuff with some of those like adjustable dumbbells and keeping them pretty light, just to sort of like get into the habit of things. I didn't want to like hurt myself or anything like that. Um, and Feels good. Um, when I thought about sharing this, like the workout, quote unquote, progress, I weird reflection over here in this corner. What's this over here? Ghost. Anyway, um, tonight I watched. I talk about him a lot. Man Alone did like his like 100th video thing, and turned it into a PowerPoint presentation about um, like why he loves solo RPGs so much. And if you haven't, I mean, I'm guessing if you watch this video, you watch his videos. But if there's a chance you don't, you should go over there and check out the videos, because although I'm pretty new to the idea of solo role playing, a lot of the things he says about why solo role playing is so fun definitely sort of resonates. Um, with I'm gonna take like one exception where he talks about like self care being kind of foolish. I don't think he uses the word foolish, but he definitely uh, poo poos on the concept of self care, and I agree. A lot of it is taken to sort of like a weird extension, right? But I can say that for these last 2 weeks, while I've been doing mindful of my fitness and like my eating habits and stuff like that, which I think counts as self care, I've been feeling a lot better about literally everything. Um, and I'll be honest, I've been feeling kind of burnt out on like role playing in general. I don't know if I talked much about this, but I'm a long time forever GM. Uh, I have a twice monthly game at home here in person. We've been doing, I think I have like a video on here of doing like an old school essentials recap. That campaign pivoted to Shadow Dark ever since we got our copies in the mail. And we often take a lot of detours to do other stuff like Mothership and Mothership. And I think we did. I'm looking at my bookshelf. What else have we done? Um, I don't know. There's been other stuff there too. Nothing comes immediately to mind, but we've definitely done this stuff. And then of course, this channel is full of videos of other games that we've been playing. You can find we've done some like old 5e stuff back when we were running that, and then Morkborg and Cyborg and Mothership and more Mothership. Have that Alien campaign. I would love to. I'd love to get going. The point is that I GM a lot, and lately it's been feeling kind of rough to get things going. And since I've been sort of like supplementing the self-care space in my life of which is usually role playing. Playing these games is how I quote unquote fill my cup. Exercise has sort of like shored up, like made up for the shortage. Like I haven't been able to get as much gaming as I like to, but I have been compensating with exercise, and that's been feeling good. Anyway, so like I'll admit, like the last session of Runecairn, I just sort of like pooped out, right? But after getting over some like stuff with the family and stuff with myself, I'm like, and then I just came back from a workout, and I was like, man, you know what I really want to do? I want to take this like positive workout energy and like get back to Runecairn, because otherwise I was just gonna let it sit on the shelf for a while. I'll be honest. But I don't want to do that because I am enjoying. This is Torsten. I'm enjoying Torsten. He's a cool character. I'm liking how the oracles have given some dangerous NPCs for him to be interacting with, and I do want to see this go forward. Now, with that said, I have more obstacles in my life coming up, which will prevent me from playing much more Runecairn. So I'm kind of hoping to get some sense of resolution to this. I don't think that's going to happen, but it'd be nice. And while I'm away from my desk and my it's not really an office, it's like a corner in a room. While I'm away from my usual gaming space, I thought of taking something portable with me. And first I thought I was going to do Ironsworn. But I've tried that before, and Ironsworn and the Starforged sort of waxes like journal-y to me, and that's not really so cool. It's just not really my vibe. Although I will admit, Ironsworn gets you like, if you are watching this and like, man, I'd love to try some solo stuff. Ironsworn and Starforged are like the lowest hanging. It's very attainable solo play, right? Although I do think it kind of has like these major pitfalls of like you can get trapped in a loop of like generating what you're going to play with those games for like a long time, and then never actually like switch your mindset to like playing it, right? So there's that like pitfall. And anyway, I was gonna bring Ironsworn with me, but then I thought, let's try something really different, and I'm gonna be playing Caer Nephilis next week while I'm on vacation. And I'm really excited to do that because Caer Nephilis is like a dungeon delving solo game. But my problem with a lot of those, like I have a modest collection of 4 Against Darkness material, which I think is like feels like some sort of like standard of dungeon crawling solo play. To me, like I tried it and just sort of like felt like a shitty video game, right? Like, why don't I just like put Legends of Grimrock on like my Steam Deck, or I think it's even like on iPads, and just do that, because it was effectively like the same thing, and there wasn't enough like creative space when I was playing 4 Against Darkness. I was very much in like a tight video game like loop, right? So I'm looking at Caer Nethelus because it feels a little bit more evocative. And even if it isn't, I'm going to like cram in mythic GME into it or something like that. I don't know. So I'm gonna like disappear into the woods for a while and come back with some Frankenstein uh, amalgamation of like Caer Nethelus dungeon crawling with like mythic GME like storytelling, because like the premise of Caer Nethelus is really cool, where you're playing like this person who was supposedly executed, um, but somehow survived, but only by waking up in this like horrific hellscape underworld kind of thing, which makes me think like the character's actually dead and it's just the afterlife. But we will see. I feel like the dungeon creation rules for Caer Nethelus are kind of wimpy. So it's just like rolling D100, and then you get like just like 20 prompts for what like the ambience of a room is like, and I feel like that'll get old like really quickly. So I got this like, I forget what it's called, but it's like basically like a deck of cards, and each card has like the familiar like suit and number or whatever on it, like aces through kings, right? But also each card is like a dungeon room. So I thought I would bring that with me because it'd be cool to just like lay out cards. In fact, I have in here, this is Mythic Bastionland stuff. We have an episode of that here on the channel. I really want to get back to playing that, and just by the way, like generating Mythic Bastionland settings is a lot of fun. Anyway, we're like segueing on segues. These are the kind of dungeons that you get out of playing those cards. I thought I would just use this for Caer Nethelus. And see what we come up with. Does anyone else like skip a lot of pages between like things you write in notebooks? Like here I wrote Mythic Bastionland, and then I like skipped a whole spread or 2 or 3 before I decided to go to like, oh, I want to do some dungeon. Oh no, I wanted to do some liminal horror, and here's like the facing page for that. This was very much like I just wanted like 2 pages to look at while running this mythic liminal horror like one shot. I did it, by the way. And I skip a whole spread, and then I do some dungeon creation stuff. And I get to this half-finished one, and I think, well, I want to finish it, but I don't know how much space it's going to take, so let's skip this spread, and now we get to Runecairn. Speaking of, now, oh no, before I leave it, Caer Nethelus, I was thinking of like coming back from vacation and either just giving like a rundown of like my experience with Caer Nethelus, like walking through like what I played, or trying to spin it into like an actual narrative story to share with to share on here. If anyone has an opinion or any thoughts, as always, I hit me up, okay, that's enough. You can tell I worked out, like the blood's pumping, and I'm probably over caffeinated is the real problem. Okay, where we left off, Torsten, which by the way, last video, like how shitty was that? I played for like 45 minutes and did like 2 social encounters or something like that. That was oof. I think I stopped because I was boring myself. Okay. But where we left off, Torsten had been given a task by Rosina, who is the ruler is not the right word, but she owns the location of God damn it. She's the ruler of Whitebridge. I was almost gonna say like Bridgerton. Two Bridge. She is the leader of a settlement known as Whitebridge, which is 2 villages on top of like steps in this like really like not desolate, but definitely not like friendly region, referred to as the Tempest Hills area. And Rosina summoned Torsten to her cabin, where we were introduced to not only to Rosina and her pet boar, like her boar familiar. I don't know if I really touched on that in the scene, but it's there. And the hag, this pagan shaman lady who is definitely like slowly poisoning Rosina's mind. And it's very clear to Torsten or any other outsider that the hag is really the one pulling the strings in Whitebridge. Anyway, Torsten was charged with finding this guy named Toki. Toke? Let's go with Toki. Toke will make me distracted. Toki, who was exiled for... he was a deserter. He was a caravan guard who deserted his station, resulting in the caravan being lost to raiders, so they say. But before it could be brought to justice, i.e. executed, Toki escaped into the Tempest Hills. And Rosina said, why waste good loyal retainers when I can just send Torsten, this weird outsider who just literally fell out of the sky, carried by this weird giant raven. Let's send him to go find this Toki guy. But not before Rosina actually also introduced her like her niece, I think it is. Not her sister. I think that would be too close. But definitely some sort of like distant relative of Ravina. Introduced Lady Sif. I don't know why I keep calling her Lady Sif. Is that that's like what's her face from Marvel, from like Thor's buddy, Lady Sif. Anyway, Sif sort of like invited herself along to accompany Torsten, thinking maybe he's not going to be able to do it. And then, so then they promptly left, heading in the direction of this desolate outpost that people think like if he escaped to anywhere on foot, this would probably be the first place he'd go to. Otherwise, he would be lost to the elements of the hills. And along the way, Sif and Torsten had like a brief exchange. Sif's got like a big, nasty chip on her shoulder. Torsten is like a walking challenge to like her shortcomings. She's very much like projecting her insecurities onto Torsten for some reason. I think for the reason that I rolled like a NPC negative interaction. And so they had like a brief exchange where Torsten narrowly avoided like having to fight Sif. But the takeaway from that is he probably shouldn't turn his back to her, right? Otherwise, that's like inviting trouble. If she's the sort who would take advantage of that, and spoiler alert, she totally is. She's like a bandit at this point. She deserted. She's also a deserter of her duties. That's like a theme. She and Toki got a lot in common, and I should probably keep that in mind. But anyway, Torsten cannot trust Sif at this point, although he did avoid having to fight her. From there, they arrived at the garrison, and by doing some scouting on a nearby high hill, identified like the landmarks of the garrison. Formerly like an outpost where soldiers would like camp at before marching off to like whatever. It's been neglected for generations now. and is pretty much like an abandoned structure, supposedly. Like on the books, that's what it is. Anyway, Torsten and Sif identified this like perimeter wall of um, like a palisade. That's like where you have like the timber, like the upright timber, like cut to like pointy tips at the end, like a makeshift wall. And it's currently being patrolled by just like one sentry who only occasionally sort of does his rounds, right? He's actually, as a matter of fact, is he doing his rounds right now as Torsten is sneaking in? Let's get to it. What's the timestamp on this? That was like 20 minutes of me just like, good God, if anyone is watching this is like, Matt, get to the game. 20 minutes is a long time to make you wait. Anyway, so it would be favorable if the sentry was like taking a nap at this point. So let's roll for favor or sorrow. It's 2d6, 4, 5. Favor with a complication. He is sleeping, but he is sleeping right where Torsten and Sif would like to come in like a hole in the palisade. Which would make sense too, because we know that the palisade weak spots are actually guarded by like alarms, like bones, like hanging bones that'll rattle if you touch them, kind of a deal. So there are two obstacles in the way for Torsten and Sif, although they don't know it. Here's Sif, here's Torsten. I don't know if I'm going to need these. As they approach, I picture them sort of like rounding down a nearby slope. Looking to sneak into this garrison. First off, does Torsten... He does see like the hanging string of bones like draped across the entryway. He recognizes them for what they're supposed to be. Can he slip by the alarms without rousing the sleeping sentry? I think that would be a dexterity save. Just 13 for old Torsten. Oh, 2. Yeah, he slips by, no problem. Gets into the perimeter wall. Another short segue on my bookmark. So we ran through the delve generator for Runecairn to get to this outpost. But when you do Runecairn delves, you just like run into like one random encounter after another. And from experience, because this is not my first time playing Runecairn, the encounters start feeling really goofy because they like don't mesh well together. So, but after you go through the encounters, you mark down the room size until you get to room size 1, and then you roll to see if you got to your objective, which for us is finding that out exiled prisoner. Instead, when we encounter keywords for this delve, I'll check off a box. And those I'll just sort of keep track of for what we rolled right here. Which is a long-winded way of saying that by sneaking past debris, and the sleeping sentry, where is that? Is that 11? Broken wall. Okay, so it's broken wall, so that's at least 1 right there. And Obstacle bone strung up. Yep, yep. So we get past that. I knew that. I didn't pull that out of thin air. Yeah, it's got to be this guy. So check that off. Check that off. So two progress for sneaking past the perimeter wall. But this lady Sif, all right, I did it again. Does she get past? We said she was a bandit. Is there a bookmark for this one? No. Colin, why isn't there a bookmark in the bestiary? 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 Did I get hung up on that last time too? I did. She has 13 decks. Okay. Let's see how Sif does. Oh yeah. So both of them, here's my bookmark. Sneak past the entryway and past the sleeping guard without any problem at all. They passed it with plum. And then there is a past here, so between the palisade and the courtyard and building is another wall, and this one is like the original garrison wall. Decaying and collapsing brick, stone, dry, cracking mortar. Torsten and Sif circle around until they can sneak past the main gate. They're not going to use that. Instead, they look around. Is there another way in without using the main gate? Favor or sorrow? 2, 6. There is. There is, but it's very obvious to use. What did I ask myself? Is there another way in? Yeah, but it's okay. I guess what I mean is it's no less. It doesn't matter. Using the gate is like the way in. And past the gate, which opens on creaking, broken hinges. In fact, like one of the doors, like half collapsed, like it digs across the ground because it's not aligned. So the two of them really have to like put their backs into it to shove the door open. Leads the two of them into a modest courtyard, which is scattered with debris, like the kind of stuff that like travelers and caravans and stuff, like the kind of garbage that they would like leave behind. However, there's very clearly like some sort of population you cannot see when I draw in pencil. A population of I want to say like vagrants, exiles. Toki is in like company here of people living in these makeshift tents all throughout the courtyard. And it very much has this feeling of like, oh, this kind of bums me out to think of, but like when you go into like a big city and you go downtown, you see a bunch of people living in tents by the highway. People who just kind of want to be left alone. And their peace is clearly disturbed when Torsten and Sif shove open the heavy doors. A lot of ghostly eyes sort of like look out past these tents and other ramshackle shelters, blinking in confusion at these two strangers who walked in. It must happen from time to time, right? People, because nobody owns this garrison anymore, so anyone can technically come in here. But there's definitely sort of like this feeling that these people, these two newcomers, are here to break the peace. Sif, despite herself, stands close to Torsten, a little put off by what she finds past the door. It's not exactly hiding behind him, but um, she's not comfortable here either. Something about people living in squalor really puts her off. Now, I think before we go any further into this scene, we should test it. So our chaos factor is a 5. So we want to roll, I believe, 5 or under. Let's see, I need my... Oh no. I need my graph. Fate chart. Not my fate chart. Testing the... Why is this scrolling so weird? The width. There we go. Roll over chaos factor expected scene. Very cool. So what they don't know is that this, although these people are like, it's not an official city or settlement or of any kind, there is someone who sort of like rules over it. And as Torsten and Sif come into the courtyard, a figure emerges on the at the top of this tower attached to the garrison building. He emerges first. Torsten and Sif can hear him before they can see him, because he is chanting something rhythmically, musically, in a language that neither of them understand. They like kind of like look at each other confused. And although Sif and Torsten are no allies, they sort of stand close together, united against like a fear of the unknown, right? And this crazed looking man with shocking white hair and a long wispy beard emerges at the top of the tower and finishes chanting his ritual, and stares down at the two newcomers with crazed, angry eyes, lifts up his hands, and dispels the magic he'd been gathering. And just like that, the courtyard is greenish spectral flame rains down from the sky onto this courtyard. And it's suddenly absolute chaos as things are catching fire. Sif and Torsten raise their shields above their heads to protect them, like you would use an umbrella against fire. They will have to test dexterity to avoid this fire raining down on them, or else take fire damage of some kind. Torsten's fine. And Sif rolls a 1. She grabs Torsten by the arm and pushes them through the courtyard, and sort of ducking and dodging around panicked locals. We clear some problems here. More debris. Sorry, we did debris here. The broken wall. We did the... Okay. Come across... No, broken wall. Okay, so we defeat debris of like the filled up courtyard, exiles in shelter, and spectral green flame. So that's 3. I think I'm doing this. I'm kind of making this up as I go, but it feels good. And although the fire is sort of like raining down on them, Torsten and Sif run past the fire and into the lower levels of the tower. The tower is half intact. It's like a skeleton of what it used to be. There's holes where like bricks have like fallen out, exposing the tower to the elements, and it's little more than a haphazard spiral of stairs, like rickety wooden stairs leading up to the top, where the Mad Scald had gone to greet them. And as they break into the door, catching their breath and shaking soot and little flecks of green flame off their clothes, the Scald starts coming down the stairs. Let's roll for his attitude. Now that they've gotten past his... Well, I'm not even sure why he cast that flame. That's the beauty of solo roleplay. I'm not sure why that happened. We'll see. What's his reaction to these two coming into his home? 1, 6, 7. He's unsure. Good. That makes sense. Oh, I just thought you two looked like you needed a proper welcome, he says as he comes down the stairs. I think it'll help if I point to Meeples as, Scald, Torsten, Sif. I thought I would test the newcomers to my my humble home. Just can't just let anybody come in through here. He sort of challenges, sort of fixing one cataracted covered eye on the two of them. And Torsten, in a bid to be diplomatic, responds and says, sir, we didn't know that this fort was still under someone's protection or ownership. Forgive us the intrusion. Sif, on the other hand, she's hot-headed and says, "Oh, come off it! How dare you attack us?" And she's already drawn her axe. She's in like a ready stance to fight. The Scald picks up like a wayward lute left in like the perch of, now it's kind of like a window, but in actuality it's just collapsed rubble, right, exposing the tower to the outside world, and starts plucking a couple out of tune notes on his way down. Just that is enough to get the room of the tower sort of reverberating with the pent-up magic that the Scald has built here over the years. He's ready to answer Sif's challenge if she attacks him. But Torsten is still trying to be diplomatic here. Do you have a name, sir? I don't like to... there's no need to remain strangers. I am Torsten, and here with me is Sif. Again, we mean you no harm. We're here looking for somebody. A man who has escaped justice. The Scald, whose name is Frode. Frode? Frode. Frode. Scald. Thinks about it while still plucking at his lute. And says, well, we get so many people here that don't belong. Can you be any more specific? And Sif goes into his description, a stout man, about yay tall. His head was shaved and his beard was cut off. He would be here in nothing but rags. And he would have been here about maybe like a night or two ago. Will the Scald... What sort of answer will the Scald give them? It'd be favorable if he just said, oh yeah, Toki is hiding in the basement. Instead, 2, 4. Favorite complication. Oh yeah, I've seen someone of a description come by here about the time you estimate he would be here. But I've sort of taken a shine to that fellow while he's been here under my protection. And since I consider him a guest of mine, I am obligated to keep him safe, you see. At this point, the Skald has finished coming down the stairs. It takes him a long time because, one, his legs are so twisted with age. He walks with a limp. And 2, you have to be careful where you step on those stairs, otherwise they'll collapse. He knows this firsthand. So the 3 of them are now standing at the floor of the bottom of the tower, which is just bereft with haphazardly fallen rubble, bricks and stuff that are now sort of like overgrown and slowly like being taken back by nature. It would, what does he want to say? The Skald says it would scar my honor. It would besmirch my honor to give up this man to you, as he's under my protection. And before Torsten can try anything diplomatic, Sif says, under the authority of Ravina of Whitebridge, he's to be brought to justice. Does the Skald recognize Ravina as an authority? 5, 9. Absolutely not. The Skald simply shrugs and says, "Who?" And finally lets out like one last chord on his lute and sends a blast of something at Torsten and Ravina. I think I gotta find some sort of the Grim Seer might do the trick. That's a hag. Let's take a look if we can get Skald stats. Not a Viking. Maybe a cultist? A Death Seer? What's a Death Seer? That sounds like really scary. Oh. Staggeringly powerful seer refuses to die. Forgotten magic fueling their eternal body. Ooh. You know, I think we're gonna go with it because I kind of like the idea of like this Mad Skald is just this crazy lich kind of thing that just hasn't. Yeah, we'll go with it. So, he knows every seer spell. So what did he cast? Gravity Shift would have been cool if it wasn't only himself. Knock, Poison Cloud. I want to cast something that like sleep. Ooh, I like that. Okay, but I'm gonna have to read up on magic. I didn't think I'd have to. Sears cast spells, but you just cast them. Interesting. So the Scald Frode finishes his little strumming on the lute, and Sif falls to her knees and then to the floor immediately in a deep sleep, leaving Torsten alone. And Torsten actually sort of looks thankful over at the seer and says, truthfully, she's no friend of mine. I've been charged with this task, but I'm willing to cooperate. Although Torsten is now slowly drawing his axe. How does the seer, not the seer, the Scald react to that? I think this is sort of like a last ditch effort for piece 6. That's not good. 8, sorrow. No, the man is under my protection, and you will not have him. And he begins pulling up another song on his lute. Torsten, however, leaps into action, going straight for the throat, so to speak, maybe literally. If surprised at the start of combat, make a dex save attack first. Nope, we're not doing that. This will be hard. 2 books at once will be difficult. Okay, as Torsten leaps in, the Deathseer lifts up both of his hands, dropping the lute in the pretense of being a Scald, and instead like holds out to like pull the life force straight out of Torsten, who's going to have to make a spirit save after he attacks. So we'll resolve Torsten's attack first. Torsten's going straight for the good old bearded axe maneuver, which is a hack. Yeah. So hack. Hack. Sorry. He takes fatigue for it. Technically, the Deathseer is also taking the fatigue. Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 slots taken up by inventory. So we take a fatigue to use hack, but that is attack your opponent in a frenzy. Roll damage twice. Bearded axe is a D8. 7. That's really good. Dire Strike, I believe, is if he had rolled a max damage, which is an 8. It's been a minute since we've done this. Yeah, Dire Strike. Yep, max damage. Okay, so we do 7 damage to the Deathseer, who has 16 resolution. Not resolution. He has 9 left. 9 res left. But as Torsten hacks at him, he casts Drain. Draw the life force from their foes. Spirit save or lose D4 souls. If the target holds no souls, drain vigor instead. Oh, ouch. Okay, this is an important spirit save. 20. That's a 6. I think Torsten does save it. Yep, because I rolled crazy good stats on Torsten. Okay, next round. I'm going to spend, I think, my last fatigue. Is there any penalty for using your last fatigue? No. Okay. Because this guy's got to go down fast, recognizing that this guy is draining the life out of him. It's worth it to hack again. 2. Oh no. 8. A Dire Strike. Awesome. So he's down to 1 spirit save, 1 res, and then Dire Strike on hack. Your opponent must make a strength save or stagger from the ferocity attack, moving back 5 feet and losing their next turn. Awesome. So we could prevent the drain. It was a strength say yes, strength. The strength is 16. Holy cow. Yeah, he passes it, so he still does that. So Torsten now has to make a spirit save. 20. Oh, that's bad. Okay. I just want to make sure that it's not like a critical fail roll for rolling a 20. 20 always fails, that's it. Okay. So his spirit's getting drained, and he's taking it straight to vigor. D4 vigor. Oof. 4 vigor. Oh, jeez. Okay. Torsten is immediately like... he becomes shriveled and like desiccated. Okay, I need to look up like how bad is vigor damage, because that's like, holy cow, that feels really bad, like really bad. You lose 1 point of vigor at death. At 0 vigor, you become a shade. Oh, that's like forever dead. Oh my. He heals for that much too. So he's up 4 resolve. Okay, wow. I'm just shocked at like how unfortunate a turn of events this was, and just like making the guy like a lich like on a whim too. Holy cow. Also, is the vigor loss like permanent? Doesn't say. I have to think you can get vigor back. can vigor page 14. I almost want, like, I'm wondering if like Torsten would run away at this point. Okay. Next round. So he's up to 5. Resolve. Torsten's on the back pedal. Oh, geez. Okay. Torsten will drop his spear in order to get a free item slot to do hack again. Jeez. 7, good. 6, okay. And before I gotta give it, otherwise this story is over. Okay, let's do it. And then a spirit save. Yeah, he passes it. Okay. So as the Deathseer is like grabbing onto Torsten's face and draining the vigor out of him, Torsten drives his axe through and hacks the Deathseer down to the floor. Is there a bonfire in this tower or garrison? Is the bonfire in the tower? I'm going to roll on Mythic to determine that. And when you roll on Mythic, I think you want to roll under the likelihood. Oh my goodness, that was terrifying. Equal or less than the large number? It's yes. Okay, so is the bonfire here in the tower? Else it's in the garrison. 69. I forgot to give it odds. I think it'd be unlikely anyway. Fate says I needed a 35 or less for it to get in there. Okay. So it's definitely not here. Torsten pulls away from the Deathseer, who we know will come back. Torsten doesn't know that. Gasping for breath, like suddenly feeling like so like twice as old as he really is. And drags Sif's body along into the garrison. We get to make some delve progress, at least. Oh, jeez. We fought the Mad Skeld. I think that's all we get. Well, I'll give another one for Spectral Green Flame, because that's like magic stuff, and this year definitely cast magic, so that's 2. Now, the floors here in the tower and garrison are dangerously ill-kept. So everywhere here, there's a chance that we will fall through the floor. Does the floor give way beneath Torsten as he like drags Sif's body from tower to garrison? Thinking that at this point, now that like the courtyard's on fire, like comically on fire, and there's this dead Deathseer here at the tower. The garrison is like the only like safe place of refuge in the area. I think it's likely that the floor would give way somewhere around here, though. And wouldn't you know it, just as Torsten steps through the threshold between tower and garrison, he puts too much weight on some floor, with him and Sif together. That's what made it likely. And fall through the garrison floor straight into the basements. Obstacle gives way. We will make a strength save or else take some damage. That's good. Grasping Sif to him, Torsten sort of like twists his back into it and slides down this like rocky slope on his armored back, managing to avoid taking any like real damage as he falls into the basement of the garrison. Which isn't really, basement's not really the right term. It's like a one part sinkhole that's opened up below the garrison. And one part like cave formation. The point is it's all like natural walls down here. It's dark and dank, wet. People who were squatting in the garrison just sort of like funneled all their refuse down here. It's putrid. That's progress though. Now somewhere in this area is there's going to be noteworthy discarded chainmail. Is the chainmail hidden down here in the sinkhole? 50-50. I rolled under. I had to assign odds before I. The answer is yes. So it's like that closing scene out of what's that horror movie with all the ladies go down into like the cave, and it's like the garbage chute in Star Wars, right? It's water up to your waist. It's not really water. Don't look too closely at it. And Torsten is struggling to like hold Sif up above, keep her head above the water, and notices like inside all this like water is this like little like altar looking thing made out of garbage. And on top of the altar though is this suit of chainmail. You guys like my drawings? Chainmail that is up on like strings, keeping it like elevated on the pedestal that go off to like the ceiling too. This thing is like an item of reverence for some reason, and kept in really good condition. Is this a trap? Let's go back to Favor or Sorrow. Or that's not good. 8 is definitely trapped. As Torsten looks at the armor and the cords which like weave through it to keep it aloft on the altar, he follows the lines through the room, like holding up some, like he sparks a torch and like holds it up to see, and the like the cables or like filaments keeping the armor aloft in the air are connected to like what do you call them, like pittons in the rocky walls, keeping them together. Taking the armor down means pulling on those cables, which means it all comes down. It'll cause a cave in. Is the bonfire down here? I think it's unlikely. It's unlikely, but it'd be nice if it was. 34. It is. It's just barely down here. As Torsten waves the torch around on another elevated stage above the water, is an old, like, capital B bonfire. And when you relight a bonfire, let's look at bonfire rules in Runecairn. I know it's like a place of recovery. And I also got one on when you roll a delve, you get X amount of bonfires, if I'm not mistaken. Which I like intentionally left undecided where it goes. What's the rule on bonfires? Sorry, on delves. Yeah, bonfire 1. So we are in a outpost. There's one bonfire somewhere, and I guess it was hidden down here at the sinkhole. Bonfire 12 and 24. Let's go to 24 first. I think 24 will give us the rules. Bonfires offer a beacon of hope to souls lost in the dark. Resting at a bonfire restores lost resilience, clears fatigue from your inventory, and resets ability score lost. Thank goodness. Bonfire resets also return most slain foes to life. Powerful, intelligent foes such as gods, Jotun, or I think it's other or dragons remain dead when defeated. Our Deathseer will come back on his own. Thank you. When set at a bonfire, you can spend souls to grow power. We don't have any. Souls. The might of the gods. You may discover soul remnants hidden in secret places or areas of great power or under the watch of fearsome guardians. Soul remnants are small, take up no inventory space. Okay, I think it's very likely that the Deathseer was holding a soul, right? Yeah. So we have a soul. That's weird to say out loud. We picked up a soul from the Deathseer, from slaying the Deathseer. So we light the bonfire. So put a little that is a terrible BF. I will never know what that means. There's a bonfire in this sinkhole, in case it's ever important. And we rest there, which resets ability score loss. It's like the first thing I'm interested in. Give me that eraser. I gotta get rid of this. Vigor loss. Pronto. The story was almost over right there. And we spend the soul that we gain. Although now I'm seeing a reason to hold on to it. Spending souls. As souls represent the innate power of the gods, you can absorb this power to grow stronger. When resting at a bonfire, you can focus on the imbued power and enhance your might. While resting, spend one soul to permanently increase one of your abilities or your vitality. I'm going to increase my vitality because death is scary. And raising vitality, I think, will then raise my resilience. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to spend this soul to raise my vitality to 5. I want one of these so I can sketch it in. Which will then raise my resilience to 11. Not that it matters, because these monsters go straight for the vigor anyway, apparently. Okie doke. I think we're gonna close tonight by deciding what's going on with this chainmail down here, and also giving myself some delve credits. I don't know if I did or not, but I fell through debris. I didn't check it off here. Oh, I did. Whoops. but I did encounter the chainmail. Okay, so we're going to close out tonight. Figuring out what's going on with this chainmail. Is it a... does it have like a history? Did like someone famous used to wear it? I think that's likely. So 65 or under. Oh yeah, somebody used to wear it. Is it... like I'm thinking, like, is it like a magic artifact? Is it magical armor? I already have that armband that's kind of magical. I know that kind of stuff exists here. And if so, what kind of magic would it have? Okay, is it magical? It's unlikely. A 3. That's a strong success. That is, it is definitely magical. So I think that's going to be shooting from the hip. I think that just means like it has like a it's a not a relic. That's not the term. Just calling it like a +1 armor is kind of boring. But I think that's what I'm gonna do. And then call it a night there. Armor, chainmail. Well, that would already be like an upgrade for me, right? No, I'm wearing chainmail. That's boring. Oh, there we go. It loses the bulky effect, which would be really cool. I did roll a 3, so that would be like it's both. It's defense 3 and not bulky. So I'm gonna write that down. And bulky. Cross that out. Okay, and we will recover next time with Sif waking up and see where we go to from there. If you guys watch this, thank you for watching. And if you listened to my whole 20-minute rant at the beginning, thanks for putting up with that. If you guys have any opinions or anything about how the game's going or ideas for the story, I'm all ears because, as I always say, I am making up as I go along, and always appreciate some help. Again, I'll probably be out of pocket for a while playing Caernethelus, so we'll see what comes of that when I come back. Good night, everybody.